Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another unboxing and breakdown of the demo. This is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild for the Nintendo Switch. Before I start covering down everything, I want to inform you I have a lot to cover at the beginning here of the video, so please bear with me as I go through it all. The first thing I want to talk about is that I recently discovered there is actually two different print run versions of Breath of the Wild on Cartridge. There is the original first print run vanilla copy that I'm assuming a lot of people actually have, but they recently apparently did another print run copy of the game, which we will call it the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild the 2018 edition, which comes with most of all the updates on Cartridge, but it does not come with any of the DLC, only the updates on the Cartridge. Now, the newer print run comes with the update version 1.50 on Cartridge, but there was still a good size update available that will take it up to 1.6, which is around 1 gigabyte. Most of all these updates that are already on the cartridge is mostly bug fixes, tweaks, and just a little bit more ease of life for the user. But one of the bigger ones did have more language support available, from Russian to Spanish and so on. You can see a list of the video at the beginning of the video as I go through the languages. Now, if you've noticed in the video here that you notice that I'm playing at the beginning of the game. When I usually do my videos, I try to update the game so I can give you an idea of what the updates did and what alterations there were and how my experience was between them both. But as I recently discovered that apparently I do not know if this affects the vanilla one or if it's just strictly this newer print run. When you update the game to the newest 1.6, that update is fine and everything, but if you uninstall the game and try to reinstall it, so if you can go back to the 1.5, the original print version on cartridge, the console for some reason will still feel it needs to have that update of 1.6 and will not allow you to start up the game until you update the game to 1.6. I try to do everything I can to get the game to work. I've tried to delete my save, and it still wouldn't let me start the game unless I updated the software. I tried to uninstall the software in multiple methods and ways. It still would not let me start the 1.5 version of the game until I updated to 1.6. The only thing I could do was I had to completely format my Nintendo Switch to let me play the game back on 1.5. Now, I know for a lot of people this is probably not a big deal to update the game, and that's no big deal. But I still stick with my true to form of no DLC, updates, microtransactions, and redeem codes. And I still want to play the game what's on disc or what's on cartridge. So it really disappoints me that I had to lose 40 to 50 hours of game time that I played just because of this weird little hiccup that makes me required to play the game at 1.6. So just bear that in mind if you're curious about updating it, because if you do update it and decide later to uninstall it, you will be required to update it to 1.6 if you ever decide to replay the game again by installing it onto your Switch. Now, I've touched on this before, there were two different versions of the game. I want to provide pictures at the beginning here right now, as you can see them. I will show you the first old vanilla first version. As you can see that the back side of it, like the support, as well as the copyright year for Nintendo, as well as some of the other little things like basic reading, amiibo, and Nintendo Pro controllers lineup. Now, as you see that the newer print run, the 2018 edition, which is this version here I'm playing now, you can see that some of the icons have been moved, and as well as you can see at the copyright areas it says 2018. Use this as a base idea for be able to find out which version of the game you have, or if you've just got a Nintendo Switch and you're interested in buying the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and you want all the version I have, or if you're looking for the old version because you want to play the game with all the bugs. Use those two pictures as helpful tips to let you know which one to look for if you're going to a used game store and so on and so forth. If you've noticed, this is a re-upload of this video. I want to thank all the people who informed me and let me know about discovering the differences, and I'm still dedicated to trying to provide the best form of understanding in terms of collecting, as well as providing the most updated information as I can in terms of game collecting. Again, thank you all for your support and understanding, as well as your help with the matter. Now on to the game. I'm sorry, that was a lot to cover. Now, I've recently played Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. I didn't own it, but I just played a little bit of it, and I'd be honest with you, I did not give the game a fair chance. I was a little bit burnt out on the open worlds. I just played Horizon Zero Dawn, Nier Automata, and I just was really just worried to go into another generic open world game. Well, I recently just started playing the Switch version for the first time, and I was wrong. This game was actually way better than I expected. The combat, the story, the gameplay, the environment, everything was just really well polished and very rewarding everywhere I went through and played with it. I just could not put this game down. I loved the parachute. It was really fun to just fly around. I generally do love any game that lets me fly around. I didn't like the horseback riding, but I generally do not like any horseback riding in any game in general, so this is not a shocker. Now, I do think the game's world is still a little too big. I did find it a bit tedious at times, traveling around and have to run for so long. It could have probably been at least maybe 25, maybe 30% smaller to make it a little bit more funner to explore. But the best part about it is that everywhere you went and everything you did was always unique and different than your typical other open world games. Where other open world games, you were constantly just go to this area, fight a few enemies, and then you unlock the area. Or you do a fetch quest. Legend of Zelda had these special dungeons you can go into. You have to do special fights, or you have to solve these unique different puzzles that each one had different variations that were very rewarding. As well as the game offered the special thing of a camera, which this camera you can use to take pictures, not just for posted on your Facebook or Twitter or whatever. It actually has an in-game mechanic where you can take catalogs of items in the game, from enemies to weapons to fruits and all the other items in the game, and the picture you use is the picture they will catalog and let you see it and uses your base of understanding that item, as well as you can use those pictures to hunt down the item in case you're looking for it with a beacon. This was really well done, and it made it feel really rewarding every time I found an item, and I spent like 2 hours dropping items and then just taking pictures of it, just to do with stuff with the camera. As well as that, I loved what the map was, you were able to put pins down. This was really cool because it felt really rewarding every time I found like a treasure chest or a cooking pot or a group of enemies. I was always able to go to my map and drop a little pin of different symbols to match what I want to remember there. A sword for I know there's a batch of enemies. I put a chest there so I know that I discovered the chest and open it. As well as I put a plant down when I find the little Keko seeds. It was really cool to be able to contribute to the map myself. Then the game just constantly putting their own little symbols. I felt like I was contributing to the game. Surprisingly though, also, most people complained about the weapon breaking in the system, and I honestly really enjoyed it. I thought that it gave a new mechanic, a new style for the game than your typical other open world games. Now, I normally do not like durability or weapons breaking in general, but what I loved about it, it made it very unique to go and try out newer weapons as well as newer approaches to enemies, as well as it made sure you didn't swing your weapon aimlessly and just eventually break it. You were very concerned of losing your weapon. So I thought that was really well done, and I couldn't believe how quickly I was able just to then go find a new weapon and try to use it at its best to my ability. Now, what I think that people really got upset with was the tediousness of when a weapon breaks. Every time it breaks, you have to manually go and equip each time of a weapon. I do not understand why they couldn't have had it when your weapon broke. You just instantly equip your next quickest weapon in your slot. As well as that you have to hold the right D-pad to scroll over with your right joystick to select the next weapon. Again, I don't know why you couldn't just tap the D-pad on the right or on the left, depending, and just immediately switch over to the next weapon in your catalog. It just seemed like they could have made the process a lot faster and a lot more user-friendly than just having to make it more cumbersome. I think it's just those little bitty tidbits things that just made it a little bit more annoying for people. But overall, the weapon breaking system was very well done, and I highly love that for it. I hope to see more iterations of that style in even other games out there. Now, moving on, I do think that the game's cooking system is pretty unique and kind of different in its system, but for the most part, I found it a bit on the tedious side. I do like how you can combine all these items and make a neat kind of food or potion or so forth, But what was weird was that the process of doing it, it was just weird that you had to manually hold all the items and then just drop it into a pot. There's no clear indication that you were supposed to do that. Because I'll be honest with you, I went for a long time in the game not knowing how to cook. Because in your mind, you didn't think that you had to manually do it by hand. It seems weird that you couldn't just go up to a pot and just click on the button to start cooking and just pick the items you want to use. It just seemed more, again, cumbersome and tedious, and they could have made it more user-friendly and quicker in process. But the idea was cool, but I hope that they can go back at it, and maybe a newer Zelda or something like that, and give a bigger approach to it. Now, lately I've just been talking about bad stuff about the game, but do not take that as this nothing but negative. Everything else they did with the game, the exploration, the combat, the environments, the characters, everything was just drew you in, and it was always so unique and well designed that it made me more want to explore it than your typical other open world games. Now, some people might come back at me complaining that why am I loving this open world game when it's not too much different than other open world games, and you're right. I do not know what really drawed me in about this. It might have been because of the parachute system, because I do like high flying in games, as well as that there was more player interaction within the game. Like I said, with unique dungeons, as well as I can put the pins on the map. It made me feel like I was contributing, as well as that when I explored, I found a new item. I wanted to take a picture of it to catalog it. It just kept me always involved with the game. Didn't feel like I'm just running to the next location to do a small task, complete that, then just run to another location to complete the same almost identical task I just did before, and rinse and repeat. The game made it all felt unique and special, and to me, I think that it's the pinnacle of the best open world game I have personally ever played, and is probably now my most favorite Legend of Zelda game of all time. Link to the Past was my favorite Legend of Zelda, and I thought nothing could beat it. But Breath of the Wild blew me away. And if you're curious and wanting to get a copy, I highly recommend probably trying to look for the updated version I have here. As I said, it comes with updates, bug fixes, and so forth, as adds more language support as well. Again, DLC is not on the cartridge. It's just the updates. But again, try to use those pictures to be a more reference and idea of what to look for in terms of which one you are wanting to get. So thank you all for watching. If you want to see more videos from me, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're interested in a copy, which obviously I highly recommend. I enjoyed this game, and it's definitely going to be my most played probably game on my Nintendo Switch. So again, thank you all for watching, and again for all the people who supported this channel, as well as providing your advice and tips and how to look for the best version of the game. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye bye.
Try to remember. You have been asleep for the past 100 years. The beast. When the beast regains its true power, this world will face its end. Now then, you must hurry, Link. Before it's too late.